Beep, 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 beep. Welcome to the court of the idiot jester. How are we, good people? I hope you are well. I'm feeling good today. I feel good today. I do. Right, okay. What we got for you today? Well, the NHS. Here we go again. Right, the NHS. The NHS is a serious problem, as well as the unions that represent it, Unison being one of the worst, right? So the NHS and Unison need dealing with. And so by dealing with, I mean I can't understand why the government of the day doesn't take it by the scrotum and swing it above their head, you know, and deal with this, because what we're seeing from the NHS is absolute nonsense. So before we start, become a warrior teacher, buy me a coffee, blah, blah, blah. Super thanks. Help out wherever you can. It's really necessary to keep the work going, and I do want to keep going. This is from the Telegraph today, okay? And it's from the 1st of June. It's by Daniel Sanderson, who is the Scottish correspondent for the Telegraph. And so we are again today, folks, back in bonny wee Scotland, which currently has so many problems that they're having to deal with. You look at the work of For Women Scotland, Keep Prisons Single Sex, and a number of other organisations that are trying to get some sanity back into our north of the border brethren. And it's very sad to see that the country of the Enlightenment fall so hard for this utter lunacy. But let's see, what utter lunacy have we got today, over and above the normal utter lunacy that all of us have come to learn to live with, right? NHS row. As staff plan a pride march through grounds of Scotland Children's Hospital. This is what you think it is, okay? Staff are being urged to brandish banners and placards at the Royal Infirmary of Edinburgh, but some say it is creating a culture of fear. NHS bosses have waded in to the toxic debate over transgender rights by allowing activists to organise an ideological and political march through the grounds of one of Scotland's largest hospitals. That's insane, isn't it? Can you imagine that you went to Asda and they were doing this in the car park? Or you went to Tesco's and they were doing it in the aisles, yeah? Or you popped into your butchers and the 4 people at the back with a few sort of manky trans flags. We're going trans rights or human rights when all you wanted was a bit of steak and some kidney. What the hell are they doing? This is the NHS. I've said it before, therefore I will say it again. Boring though it may be, the NHS is now a socialist state in its own right, and it needs gutting. So that the bosses that are allowing this to happen, or even allowing this to be on the table, can be ousted. Ousted, right? The sooner we give the nurses and the doctors and the auxiliaries and those that keep the place bloody running by cleaning it the power to decide what is and what isn't important, the better it'll be. It's a socialist state, and it needs dealing with. And Unison are the oil of that socialist state. They're supposed to be standing up for the rights of their members. This has got nothing to do with the rights of their members, and where are they? Silent. When they should be in going, you'll stop this and you'll stop this now. But they can't because they wedded themselves to this ideology. Wedded to it. Fixed at the hip. The country's second largest health board is facing accusations of undermining the impartiality of the health service by allowing the Pride event at which staff have been urged to brandish banners and placards at the Royal Infirmary of Edinburgh. This is happening on Friday afternoon. Is that today? It's today. So I'm filming this today, but you're not going to see it till tomorrow, right? Get that? Some NHS clothing staff claimed the official backing for the event was fueling a culture of fear in which gender-critical staff and patients were being made to feel unwelcome at hospitals. It's exactly what it's doing. If, for example, Pride in Manchester, which is going to push the TQ plus agenda, which is a homophobic, misogynistic agenda, and is in fact the antithesis of what it means to be a gay or lesbian, I'm waiting to see if it's going to happen this year, because it needs to, right? They are creating a hostile environment, and I think that puts them in direct breach of the Equality Act. And I think we're going to find out. Bars are going to have the same problem because they've done it, got the evidence. So if you didn't go to Manchester Pride because you felt that it was a toxic environment, and I didn't go because I felt that way, and all the people that are on my list currently didn't go because they felt it was that way, let me know, right? If you didn't go in the bars because we don't want to go in there because it's TQ plus, and it didn't want to serve you because you believed in truth and reason, let me know. You know, part of a group action possibly. You never know. So yeah, we'll see what happens. It's all going to be very interesting in the next year or two. Right, okay. Now, the support for the march came as it emerged Edinburgh's Sick Kids Hospital is attempting to gain the formal approval of LGBT Youth Scotland, who are currently, I believe, under investigation for various sexual offences. not the actual organisation, but they're having themselves looked at in order to get a clean bill of health. But they're a controversial lobby group with links to, lo and behold, mermaids, which promotes an affirming model of care for young people with gender issues. What it promotes is the sterilisation, medicalisation and butchery of children. That's what it promotes. Stop with lily-livered language. Stop it. That's what it does. The development led to claims that the Scottish NHS is failing to learn the lessons of the Tavistock scandal. So what they've got themselves involved in is one of these point things that I mention all the time. Right. So they're so obsessed with being told they're good. They're so obsessed with being told by somebody else that they're doing all right because they're so paranoid about their own ability, because we fill these places with people not meritocratically, but because they happen to have the right colour skin or screw the right people. Right? So what they're scared about is that some overarching parent figure is going to tell them they're doing it wrong. So they go, if you give me the boxes, I'll tick the boxes. It's like the corporates are doing now, the wokesters, woke corporates. Yeah? So they'll come out the gate, whoever it may be. I think we've had a few Xbox with its trans. It's like, we're virtuous, we're pure, don't hurt us. You're going to get hurt. It's that simple. Anybody who touches this gets tainted by it, including me. Anyone. It's wicked stuff. Wicked. So they've not learned any of the lessons of the Tavistock. That's what's happening here. So this is doing exactly what a cancerous cell would, and it's reproducing itself and mutating the cells next to it. Where's the government? Where's the government? We need a huge public inquiry. 4 or 5 strands, maybe more. NHS, education, organisations, quangos. We need get them all to start. Right? Give me the money. I'll do it. Get them all to start, okay? And once they've started, you can go for a 6-month period and they go, right, let's everybody get together and do we find any commonalities? And see if you can find some commonalities. If you can find commonalities, you know you've got a central thing going on because they'll all have found it their own way. The hell is wrong with you? Get a public inquiry going. Give us some money, we'll do it. We'll do it. Can we prove that critical social justice is damaging our society? Gender ideology, queer theory, critical race theory, and the nutters over the environmental lobby. Can we prove it? Right? Give us the money, we'll do it. The 1 Mile Pride March will begin outside the sick kids hospital. That's not a mistake. That's deliberate, right? Which is on the same huge site at Little France in the southeast of Scottish capital as the Royal Infirmary. To have such a prominent march on an issue that is so toxic and divisive should not be allowed when the health service is supposed to be apolitical, a doctor who works at the campus said. There's a reason they're starting at the Children's Hospital. The indigo kids, the indigo children, these special children. I'm not saying there are special children there, but they think that they're rescuing. I mean, all the children are special. You get what I mean. I'm not saying that all the children there are trans or they're trying to trans them. I'm not saying that for a second. What I'm saying is that they are trying to rescue, they think, a child in distress, which to them is the trans child who needs to be put in the chrysalis of gender affirming care so that they can become, a somewhat crippled moth. Right, okay. The clinician who asked not to be named for fear their job could be at risk for speaking out, there we go, said it was very concerning to see NHS Lothian's Children's Services attempt to gain charter status from LGBT Youth Scotland, which will have a stall at the Pride event. They're going to LGBT Youth Scotland and saying, please give us the tick box so that we know that we're virtuous. Give us the tick box so we can put a little logo on her. Nobody cares, right? The first thing we need to do is ban affinity groups in the NHS. Ban affinity groups. Ban anything that promotes power and oppression narratives. It's been done in various places. Ohio did it. There's no reason we can't do it. Oh, yes, there is. We've got a gutless New Labour bloody government, which is LARPing as a Conservative. Everything's trans these days. Come on, Rishi, do something, you hopeless twat. Or better still, step back and let Kemi get in. Let's see some stuff happen. There are multiple issues. A large transgender rights pride flag has recently been given a prominent place at the Sick Kids Hospital, furthering fears among some staff that the organisation had been captured by activists. You can't fly any flag other than the rainbow flag or our flag off of a public building or in public without planning permission. Go look it up. That's an interesting thing to start doing, isn't it? Let's start sending messages to the council asking if all those flying trans flags and whatever other flag nonsense there is coming up, have they got planning permission because they need it? Go and look at the regulations. You can only fly the rainbow flag. They're very specific. So if they're flying it without, you need to start screaming at them. We need to get these councils to enforce the flag regulations. Go and have a look. See what you think. Let me know in the comments. There are multiple issues with having a trans flag at the entrance of the specialist child psychiatry facility in Scotland. You ain't kidding. Look at what Monica Helms was when she designed it. He designed it, sorry. You need to see it, right? I've done one on this, the trans flag. Go and have a look. We've seen what happened at Tavistock, where the mermaids were given too much influence, but they don't seem to want to learn any lessons. Why should an organisation with no clinical clout whatsoever be able to lobby a specialist children's hospital? Staff are frightened about speaking up about this and feel they are being forced to toe the line. But a parasite needs a host, and it just seems like the NHS has been completely captured by this ideology. The Pride March has been organised by NHS Lothian LGBT plus staff network, as well as workers at the Royal Infirmary and Sick Kids, officially called the Royal Hospital for Children and Young People. LGBT Youth Scotland has been involved in designing an event which organisers said would celebrate the diversity of our dedicated team. The march has been promoted through NHS Lothian's official channels, with a small fair and music also promised as part of the festivities. Another staff member said they might seem like just nice celebrations, but it's actually contributing to a culture of fear, which makes staff feel that if they voice any disagreement to gender ideology, they will be immediately called a bigot. If the NHS now does not believe in biology, then we really are in la la land. I couldn't agree more. Where's the Unison? Where are you, Unison? Right, the union that's supposed to protect people. Where are you? Speak up and get this stopped. A third NHS worker said the NHS has always been known as apolitical and for a good reason. If you allow one group to do this, how do you say no to another? Allowing an ideological and political march to go ahead will open a can of worms. NHS Lothian is not a transphobic or a homophobic organisation. If you support gender identity ideology, you are a homophobic organisation. You can't get away from that. The very notion of a gender identity is profoundly homophobic. It's as homophobic as it comes. It's homophobic. Go on, have you tried not being gay? It's as homophobic as it comes. We all have patients that visit who might be hospital for really distressing reasons, and they'll see this and won't have a Scooby what is going on. What have a Scooby? Scooby-Doo. What have a Scooby-Doo what's going on? LGBT Youth Scotland was approached for comment, but they ran away and hid in the toilet. Janice Butler, Director for HR and Organisational Development for NHS Lothian. Janice Butler. Go on, is she related to her? Christ. Said that the event was in line with NHS Lothian's organisational values. This is what they do say. They write it in. I've said it 100 times. Right, the NHS is an absolute, barn pot. I mean, they're mad on this. It has to stop. She added, this is a celebratory event, organised by our staff, including local LGBT plus staff and allies, networks at the Royal and Allies networks. They are. It's a network of grievance gerbils. Designed around power and oppression, the unreality of a trans child, let's trans the gay away. That's this. In the NHS, and Unison are silent on it. When you share this, go on, do me a favour, share it. Put at Unison, what are you doing? And find out why they're not supporting their members to end this politicisation of the NHS. She added, there is a mini well-being fair, just fire her. There is a mini well-being fair with information stalls, art, music, picnics, and an organised health walk around our dedicated outdoor well-being path. They're making kids sick with this shit. You know that, don't you? Toxic parenting. They're making kids ill with this shit. They are. It's important that NHS Lothian positively contributes to tackling prejudice and promoting understanding of the diverse group of people in our communities who work for and with us and who use our services. No, it's not. It's important that people come in the door ill and go out the door well. Do your damn job and stop, fiddling with your gender genitals. You bunch of NHS nutters. Go well, people. Bye.